what's happening in India is really amazing because they're deploying the largest operating assets in the world, right? There's a 30
Hmm.
gigawatt single site project in process. The Mumbai Power 1.6 gig wind solar park is still the largest hybrid park in the world. Some of these projects are orders of magnitude larger than the largest operating US projects today. So what we
Right.
have is we have world leading expertise and experience and data coming out of the India domestic market, and for a variety of reasons. They don't have much natural gas. Even their domestic coal is relatively poor quality. So they've been a net energy importer for a long time. This is one of the primary reasons why the rupee slips against international currencies. So it's a national imperative. Renewables in India is a national imperative. And as a result, we see
Yeah.
incredible talent emerging. And it's not just engineering now, although certainly includes all of the technical elements of project deployment, but it's also legal, development, finance, construction, etc. So a huge opportunity to collaborate with our friends in India. I know having tried to hire in the United States folks who want to sit in PS CAD all day every day, who want to run PV cysts, dozens a week and do that as a career. It's relatively limited. Most folks want to learn that and move on
Right.
to more strategic deployment, innovation, etc. And we have folks in our team that have been CAD operators for a decade, and you ask them what their career goals are, and they say, we want to be the best CAD operator possible, right? And they take pride in that and they execute. And so we just need access to those brains. They're graduating 5 times more engineers every year. So imagine the cumulative advantage versus the US in terms of technical skills. So it's one of the reasons I think the US India relationship is so critical for global climate change, where we can marry US capital, innovation, software
Hmm.
with Indian talent, execution skills, and expertise. So, and in terms of adoption, I think we have a lot of folks who are very hungry for cost savings. We have folks who are very hungry to accelerate their project opportunities. And so we can apply the bandwidth that these projects deserve and need so that they can move forward. I can tell you none of our customers are firing their US teams or reducing their team size. They are all continuing to increase and grow their US teams. And generally, when they work with us, doing so faster based on the cost savings and the reduced time to cash flow. So, yeah, we've seen a tremendous amount of adoption, and we think it's a great thing for both markets.
It's super hard to quickly build out any team right now in the US. And that's why I think as an industry, we have to do a way better job of simply marketing that the solar industry is open for business and that there's room for all aspects and all talent pools in terms of like what we're looking for, not just engineering, but marketing talent, accounting talent, finance talent for sure. Those are, finance and engineering are the two areas where people have sort of the most understanding about it. Where
Mhm.
else do you see synergies in specifically project deployment? Because it makes sense, right, that we would
Yeah.
hand some of our engineering, some of the back office stuff out to some outsourced teams, but it feels like project deployment, like the on the ground stuff, that's a little harder. I know we've got some like Sterling Wilson and a few other like Indian concerns. You ran Adani here in the US. Like how
Yeah.
how do US and India connect on that regard?
Yeah, and it's also, I want to point out, it's a two-way street. There are a lot of US businesses operating in India. Those projects in India need to get deployed, executed, and the Indian market may surpass the annual US market over the next few years. So it's a huge market opportunity for US companies, and it's easy to do business in India, relatively easy. It's a
Yeah.
democracy, right? Not to be undervalued. And so it's a two-way street, and there's opportunity on both sides of that equation. In terms of the talent pool, it certainly spans all elements of project execution and absolutely construction management, logistics, project deployment. At Adani, I believe we were ranked the number one platform in the United States for how many megawatts we installed in the United States per US employee. I had 9 FTEs, and we
Wow.
built a quarter gig of assets direct to labor. So we
Yeah.
and in the process, we saved about 22% versus the next lowest third party EPC bid. And so that model
Yeah.
is extremely efficient, and everything from logistics, legal, etc., can be done at an international stage. And the same thing, amazing talent coming out of South America, Mexico, amazing talent in Eastern Europe right now as well to help accelerate our projects globally, right? Climate change is a global problem. Whether a carbon atom is emitted in the United States, India, or China doesn't matter at all, right? Like it's a global problem. It needs global solutions. Like let's leverage everyone's strengths. And so that's the process we see unfolding.
In a modern economy, as you rightly pointed out earlier, increasingly software. AI is a big concern for everyone right now in terms of, is AI going to replace all our engineering teams? Let's talk about AI. I mean, not just AI. Let's talk about software. You specifically, I was stunned. You said you have like more than 20 different software that you guys are working in at any given time. So I imagine that you can sing the praises of software, and I expect that you will. But I want to hear some of the limitations as well, Deuce, because you really understand where software breaks down and where we have to intervene as humans.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have software, even if it is duplicative, because different clients prefer different tools or have different tools, and they want us to work
Yeah.
effectively within their framework and execution framework. So, we are deploying Solar Graph, PV Case, PV Roof, ETAP, SimCap. We have Energy Toolbase, we have Homer Grid. And so we do get to see how these are each compared. We actually have a very detailed rundown on every tool, strengths and weaknesses. And you still need a qualified operator, right? Garbage in, garbage out is still the
Right.
name of the game. And you really need a qualified operator. Almost all these tools need to be reviewed, fact checked, construction optimization, especially important. And the quality of those operators is really critical. They also, none of them talk to each other. None of them interface. So we actually have our own internal automation AI team, and they're spending most of their time building out custom APIs so that these software tools can talk to each other most efficiently and scrape GIS data, interface with software tools. That it's the limitation, the primary limitation is the nexus of the software with the on-site conditions, the finance requirements, the development reality of the project, the legal structuring of the deal, stakeholder management. That's a lot of complexity, and software is a very, very, very long way from being able to manage that complexity. But of
Yeah.
course, adding a tremendous amount of value and acceleration. Our site due diligence reports used to take us 22 to 30 man hours each, lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
engineer, etc. Now they take 8, 60-page deep
Yeah.
dives on potential site locations. And that all that savings is software AI automation. That's extremely helpful, right? But not without limitations.
Well, one of the areas that the oil and gas industry is really pro and heavy sort of leaning into is green hydrogen. It makes sense because they understand molecules.
Mm-hmm.
You spent a lot of time over the years thinking about the hydrogen progress. Where are we at right now? Maybe give me a quick state of the union as we wrap the conversation. I know that while guidance is expected to come out as we are recording this episode, perhaps we'll have to have you back for a more deep dive. Give us your sort of, the Deuce high level take on where's hydrogen?
Of course. So recently worked for the folks who built the world's first solar to green hydrogen, green ammonia project, signed the world's first long-term green ammonia contract, absolute definitive first movers in the space. And as a result of that exposure and experience, very, very bullish on the industry and the market. I compare it very much to solar 2006, right? A lot of really smart folks working on it, a lot of projects announced, zero operating assets in the United States, very few. And that will change, right? It's only a question of when. United States is lagging a bit here. Europe already has their equivalent of a hydrogen RPS for blending, for gas blending. Japan has a contract for differences program that will happen, is in process. And so the global market is assured essentially, and scale will help continue to grow it. But there's no question that it's going to be a major part of our future, right? For peak shifting, for seasonal shifting of ultra low cost renewable electrons, there's no better solution. For long distance transportation, hydrogen and derivatives is are absolutely gonna rule the day. It's only a question of when in my mind. So exciting market, not here today in the United States, coming faster internationally.